Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Jez7780. What grinds my gears? Episode 31. Just been doing these daily. I knew I was going to do a lot of them because of this Gamescom stuff. But, basically, there's been you know, there's been a lot of interviews, things going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's Gamescom week. So, I really am not going to spend too much time today. You know my spiel. You know what's going on. But I just wanted to use this time to go through some of the articles I've been reading, and if you can catch it on Twitter, basically what's going on, and just get my opinion on it, because it's we all know it's happening. It's just that it's pretty happening pretty quick. I thought it was going to take some time. But man, Xbox they're aggressive, and they've been talking a long time. It's a lot of talk. That's kind of where I'm at with it. That's just a lot of talk. But they think they got it. They got this plan. They think they know what's going on, and we'll see where it goes. But basically, what I wanted it to address is just some of what the executives have been talking about. There's been the article from Aaron Greenberg about single player. There's the interview with Phil Spencer on CNET that went through, and then there is the interview with my booty Matt Booty had his interview as well, speaking about their investment and why they bought those studios. The first one I wanted to do is do the Phil Spencer article and just kind of the points of the interview that they had with him, and things that pointed out that I think, are pretty interesting. Do it. So I'm going to jump into this. And I know this is kind of an ad hoc call, ad hoc meeting, but the meeting. So serious. Yes, it's serious. It's just boring, And this, I feel like talking about it makes it exciting, because this is so boring. But we're going to talk about it, because this is like where they're going, man. It is so crazy how they are just taking whatever that Xbox console is, and they're just like, phew, wrap it up. So anyway, this is the Phil Spencer article. It was over on CNET. And, coming to quotes that he had in here, as usual, these execs drop these quotes. Oh my God. Anyway, so this is what it is. Now, as I sit here and I have Xbox, played on it 13 years, Xbox Live member, beta tested Kinect, the whole library. I got about 94,000 gamer score. Like, this is no bullshit. Okay. And, I kind of feel like the same things, like, as, you look at like Zaire stuff and stuff like that. I kind of feel very similar to that. Like, I just been loyal to this. I invested, I played all these games. I feel like they just kind of just shit on me and go, yeah, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. We got a bigger pie to fry. And, this is what Phil says in these things. And if you are just an Xbox owner and you're sitting there hoping they're going to come back, or they're going to win next generation, or they're going to really compete against Sony, just read these quotes and and really, you really have hope. I just don't see where this hope comes from. It's blind hope, I feel, because they come out and basically slap you with reality. This is what they say. This is what Phil says, and I'll read it. What I look at now is an opportunity where 200 to 250 million people will buy a console, whether it is from us or Sony or Nintendo or something else out there that could be coming to the 2 billion people who play games. And I say, how do we enable great content and stories that I see on my screen on my laptop to reach every screen in the world? So it states right there, the console space is not it. It is this, they want their stuff in front of everybody no matter what to reach all these people. The console is limiting. The console is strict. It is not a big market for them for 2 billion. And like I always say, what does a game made for 2 billion people look like? And it says right here, he goes, how do we build games for all kinds of players? I look at Nintendo. I look at building a narrative-driven story games and streaming. And then he says about streaming, streaming is something we're investing in. And and I don't know what this thing's down here. Here it goes. It gets messed up here. But like, it's all about creating new forms of entertainment, new experiences for people that play alone or together. And then you say, well, how do you reach that many people? He keeps talking about all these people. And then you look at it. And the question to him to Phil Spencer was, the Xbox has been a gaming platform. Where do you see the potential for it beyond that? We think about 2 billion people on the planet who play video games. Some of them on a console, some of them on our console, some of them on PC, a lot of them on phones. So if you look at that statement right there, mobile strategy, it's where it's at. And that's where I basically stated here, I don't go at people. I just state what I see and my opinion on it. They want third party. I said it. Mobile is their way to go. And look, they just came out with the Xbox app for Game Pass. Like, it's just a matter of time before they flip the switch and make it streaming. Now listen, and I think this doesn't come across. I don't care about all these options. My issue with all these options is that it muddies the water and makes them not focused on the console. And if they're focused on 2 billion gamers, what kind of games come out of them? And it goes along the lines of accessibility, being accessible, being maybe family friendly, being something along those lines. Like the games that they used to do, like the ones that brought people together on live, like those Call of Duty deals, like the Titanfall deals, like Rise, like the games that really were interesting and possibly mature to grow up with me. That's why I kind of left Nintendo where they stood, because they didn't grow up with me. I was like, yo, online's the place to be. That's where everybody's going. Everybody's playing shooters. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's doing this. Nintendo could stay there making Disney Sports Soccer or publishing, putting those type of games on. Didn't grow up with me. And it feels like here that Microsoft is not growing up with me. Microsoft now seems to be reverting back to this casual kind of global market. And they just keep they want this broad aspect. They want like the Wii environment, like how the grandma was playing games. That's who he's talking about. The billion people who play Panda Pop on their cell phone. He wants them. That don't sound exciting for if you're sitting there with an Xbox console in front of you. And that's kind of, what came out of that interview. Then, Aaron Greenberg comes out and, he goes, and his interview basically comes out here and says, gaming is playing a bigger role in the company, which is obvious. This is not a death note to Microsoft. Microsoft is investing into gaming. And you'll see in the next article, Xbox is not at the center of that. That's the thing that I think people don't want to hear. That's the thing that I think people are just trying to zone out and think all eyes on them. Xbox is going to be back. Xbox is not the core for them. And this is more of a class in session of the side of the story. There's two sides to every story. This is the side of the video game Microsoft Xbox story that a lot of people just don't want to hear. But this is what all the executives, everything that they're saying. This is why you need to, this is not a me problem. And I got even that on Twitter. Like, it's because me. This is not me. I'm not just putting out bogus statements like, this game is the jam. You're an asshole if you don't like it. I am taking articles that they are publishing and not from some bullshit people from random like blogs. These are the interviews of the executives, and this is what they're saying. So the rah bleed green, you are gonna be the minority. You're gonna get faded out because it's just gonna be a matter of right now you're in denial. You need to see the light. You need to see what they're going on, and you hear it. You hear this. And what does this mean for you? Does this mean amazing blockbuster games? We'll see with Matt Booty's interview. I don't feel like this means blockbuster amazing games. This feels like we're going to make some games that appeal to everybody. Titanfall 1 signed deal, Rise of the Tomb Raider timed exclusive. Those games don't appeal to 2 billion people. But Minecraft does. Sea of Thieves doesn't have a progression system because they wanted it to be accessible. They wanted people to jump on whenever on Game Pass and play and enjoy the game. They didn't want to come in and you have a pirate that has a level 100 and he has he's killing skeletons in one shot and it takes you 7 shots. They didn't want that. They didn't want a leveling up system, progression system, and they got dinged on it for the reviews. There was no progression. There was no point to level up. And everything was so expensive, it was getting the loot just to buy stuff for your boat or buy a hat or a shirt or a peg leg. So when you look at it, they have taken a game that could have been some like really hardcore kind of pirate game with progression and really have a purpose and kind of just put it out there without progression because they wanted it to be accessible. He tweeted that out exactly when Sea of Thieves launched. I'm so happy Rare released an accessible game. And when you look at his quote about 2 billion people, that's why. You don't want to intimidate people. You want grandma and little Timmy who sign on 7 months from now, a year from now, to have the same experience in Sea of Thieves. Granted, that is wonderful. But you better put that shit to the side. You better do that plus make blockbuster stuff, like plus make new blockbuster IP. But it sounds like you're all into that shit. And that's where my concerns come in. And it just pisses me off that we are reverting back to like trying to get the Wii audience. If you remember, the Wii sold so many, right? Sold so much stuff. But it couldn't sell any games. Like it dried up. Once the casual market was like, all right, yeah, whatever, they didn't stick around. And they didn't stick around for the Wii U. They didn't stay. So when the Wii blew up and got grandma and stuff, nobody was engaged with the thing. Nobody was playing it. They just bought it because everybody's like, oh yeah, grandma needs it. And you just had it. You didn't need, like, they didn't buy 6 and 7 games. The attach ratio was atrocious. The biggest attached game was the Wii Play with the Wii Play controller. That sold like in NPD forever because it came with an extra controller. So when go to this one, then I'll go into the chat. I don't know. I don't even know how many people are in here watching. Hey, what's up, man? Smooth. Now I came into this thing. Smooth, please. Why are you saying it's beyond me? All right, go play NBA Jam or NBA Live, whatever you play. You don't even play half their exclusive games anyway, so this doesn't concern you. This concerns people who actually play their exclusive games and care about Xbox. So he goes here going, gaming is playing a bigger role in the company. Of course it is. But now we come to, he basically says about single-player games being a more commitment, which is fine. You know, they came out with a Recore. They came out with what's going on. single player games. Complete opposite than what Phil Spencer said last year. And he took back his words. So they're reinforcing about the single player stuff. And he says about, there's a lot of opportunities to leverage the power and resources. The one thing, though, I did see in this was kind of strange. Was it in this one? People should appreciate backwards compatibility. I don't know if he said it in this one. People should appreciate backwards compatibility and our powerful hardware, something along those lines. Let's see. And Game Pass. So that's what I wanted to go to, because this is what he mentions about Game Pass. So we go into that. And then going into the Game Pass here. Here's the Booty interview. And this was pretty interesting because the person who interviewed Booty basically came back and goes, he stated that first statement on Twitter going, it's very telling how Booty is using Game Pass rather than Xbox One. And he's talking about Game Pass customers. He's not talking about Xbox customers. And that's what it basically says. Like, they bought these studios with the criteria of 50 to 100 people who are making unique experiences. And I think Phil also said, like, he is not going to influence them or tell them what type of games to make. But these guys are making kind of the medium games to supply content for Game Pass. So it's not like they bought these blockbuster studios to make blockbuster games. They basically made these studios for like that kind of semi-double A, triple A game that they're going to use, but it's more for the content of Game Pass than actually for the Xbox One user. And they say it right here. This is not my words. This is not my content. This is exactly what he says in the interview. It's rather telling that Booty uses Game Pass rather than Xbox One. And then he writes it up here. Basically, he says it. I don't know if I said it on the. Is this the one? Who's this one? Oh yeah, this one was Aaron Greenberg's one. This Aaron Greenberg's one saying that the biggest thing for a company is to never lose sight of the customer, and you always put your fans first. Well, there's a lot of people saying that they're expecting some things and we're not getting them. And, I think the biggest problem I have coming out of Gamescom is that, there are games. They're not going to come to this thing and say blockbuster things. Like, and come in. I understand that. And I think Smooth even said it. Like, I don't expect anything out of Gamescom. You don't. They're not going to come in there and go, here's Project Scarlet. Here it is, guys. We got it right here. No, they're not going to do that. But what you understand is, I understand you don't set your expectations to I'm gonna end that shit there. You don't set your expectations to think that they're going to be dropping these bombshell announcements. Of course not. But there are games that we know about. There are games that are exclusive to them that are coming out. Like Ashen, like Below, games that make their console unique. Sell me on those. Show me those games. And Crackdown is a travesty that they don't even show it. But you come on, you trot out Tomb Raider, you trot out, Battlefield. I understand those are things, but those are multi-platform games. You're basically doing the job for the other platforms as well. Use that unique airtime to show your stuff. And not your controllers, but your stuff. There's no blockbuster announcement about Crackdown, but man, wouldn't it be nice if they did a 5 to 10 minute feature of Crackdown and how it's being developed, and maybe the utilization of the cloud, maybe a mission in campaign? But how can we sit here and how do you sit here and say that I wasn't expecting anything, but we haven't seen Crackdown? And that is after Forza, that's the next game that we're supposed to be seeing. We're supposed to see that. And the fact that they didn't show it is really telling. And now I see People saying that there's going to be another show. You know what? Okay, that's great. Just like they're still making a Fable. They still haven't confirmed Fable. I'm expecting in my little story world that maybe Fable will be announced or they'll show a screen of it at the Video Game Awards. That will be pretty good. I think that they could do that. But if they don't announce it at whatever event that they're having or at VGAs, man, like, okay, then we're waiting to next E3 to hear about Fable. But the thing is that it just is. It's not a. That's not a blockbuster announcement. It's just that they have a unique show during. You saw the amount of people at Gamescom. You have a unique show, and you have all those people there. This is the opportunities, and then you go and show the Dave and Buster's fucking thing. How they built an arcade cabinet. Shit, it would have been great if they had the arcade cabinet on the floor for people to play, right? Was that in their booth? I saw the list of and oh wait, there was the did I see that list? No, that was the MPD list. Where the hell is it? There was one. Where is my replies? Let me just see. I'll read the games that were playable. Where are they? Oh, and this is oh yeah, and this is the other thing. So, Crackdown 3 wasn't there before I get off of the Crackdown 3 thing. On August 2nd, 2018, on IGN, copy and paste guys. Crackdown 3, per Sumo Digital, Crackdown 3 is, quote, pretty much done. Devs using 2019 delay to polish. Let's let it sink in. It wasn't playable. There was no video package. There was no demo multiplayer. But it is, quote, pretty much done, and they're just polishing it up. But nobody has played it, except before it was supposed to be released on November 7th. But ever since that Comic-Con, nobody has seen it since. And we just see Terry Crews just, blowing up stuff. But it's pretty much done. Pretty much done. Yeah. Yeah. Buddy boy. Hey, what's up? Gamescom had about 500,000 visitors. Man. And you don't have that thing played? What's up, Alish? How you doing, man? And Gaming Guy, I see you in here too. What's up? And Gerald Bear. But and Disgaea 13 and Mark Woodland, what's up, man? I'll scroll up and see who else is in here. But yeah, so basically it's polishing, but they're not showing it. Like who's bullshitting who? Same thing when Greenberg had that discussion yesterday about yes, and Alish is right, yeah. And then he said in that article too about touting Japanese support. Meanwhile, the Yakuza game, Atlas makes all the games. Like, games are not coming up. They have to go back to Japan and get their games. And it is like, you know what? I always say it's like, worry about yourself. All right, Microsoft? Like, do what's in your power. You are so rich. Yeah, it might show them at the crack. You know, right? Maybe they show Crackdown 3 along with Fable at the Video Game Awards. Maybe. They did. Yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't know. I don't know. They usually at the Game Awards, they have a semi-presence. I don't recall them having a huge exclusive announcement at the VGAs. It's usually because Keighley loves himself some PlayStation and the PSX is right around the corner. And then he loves himself some Reggie. Jeff Keighley definitely targets his show towards those guys. Our friend Dill Pickle. He definitely, does that. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Maybe this, maybe that, and everything. We see the games come, all those interviews, and I'm not going to keep this long, but you see all the interviews. You see all the execs talking about Game Pass customer, the Game Pass customer, the Game Pass customer. The thing is that Game Pass is wonderful. Game Pass is a great value. Them putting their games in there is a great value. It is. My fear since day one of Game Pass was please don't make games for Game Pass. Just make great games and put them in Game Pass. But don't custom build a game for Game Pass. Don't go to your devs and go, we need to have a game that has long amount of content so people stay engaged for 7 months because we need to keep people subscribed for 7 months. We need to build a game that keeps people coming back in. You need to position your content out. Don't put a lot of it up front and keep doing it every other month so we keep people engaged and subscribe to Game Pass for amount of time. No. Don't build the game for the service. Just build the game and the service around it, and people will come. And that's been my mantra from this whole thing, is that Game Pass is great, but please don't just build these games for that model to keep people subscribed and nickel and dime everybody every single month to get the most out of the game. And it sounds, everything they talk about, it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing. They are building games for the Game Pass subscriber, not the Xbox console owner. So you might get mid-tier games that have long DLC packages and maybe not a lot up front, game preview games, who knows? Like, it's just all this stuff. Like, just make a game. Every single time we talk about Xbox, it's the service, the streaming, the this, they fixed this, they patched this, they put preview in this. What about just making a good game? Hopefully Forza is that game. They can't fuck up Forza Horizon 4. Like, they can't. They can't. So Forza, hopefully, is a foolproof game. There's no errors and no things in that. Yeah, I saw that Savage Yoga. Yeah, about he was relating to Telltale Games, and he was saying how he likes that and he likes what Nintendo does. They're going back. They're going in time. No, I don't think Smooth. I don't think Playground's making a Telltale game, but he did talk about he likes those models. Like, he likes what Telltale does and how they're kind of universally appealing. Like, they attract a lot of people because, I guess, of the theme of the genre, and it doesn't require too much manual input from the controller, so it's accessible. So those are the games that he likes for the 2 billion people. Whether are we going to get a Halo Telltale game? I don't think so. But the thing is that what's appealing to him. And that's where it's like, does that sound exciting? Telltale Games, Minecraft, what Nintendo does, like, Nintendo games. Nintendo has a charm, but the thing is that Nintendo has the IP to support that gameplay. Just think of how you could take Mickey Mouse and put him in any situation. Yeah, you know what? Smooth, I would think that's great. I think that a Telltale game with storybook games around Xbox characters, the problem is they ignore their characters. They have characters. They have this stuff sitting there. And exactly, they don't have that nostalgia. They never, and that's the fault of them from, Ayla said that, it's the fault of them in the previous generations, not really focusing on the Halo and Gears franchises and not really building up their other brands. Never bringing Blinks back and making him something. Conker, forget about it. They just destroyed that poor guy. My favorite. Even Joanna Dark, like they just abandoned her. Like, you know, in the first generation, they never even like expanded on that. Like, you know, a Perfect Dark, like not even coming out with just a Perfect Dark 3, like a legitimate new sequel, and have that as your third tier shooter. Oh man, Telltale Games, stop it. Yeah. Shit. Only in a dream, man. Only in a dream. Even Telltale Battletoads. Like, yeah, shit, I don't know anything. Again, what is that Battletoads game? They didn't show that either. They showed a screen Battletoads, and now we're at Gamescom. And what gets me even more concerned is that the fact that they teased this stuff at E3, they didn't flesh it out at Gamescom. Instead, at Gamescom, they still talked about the same games. PUBG, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay. They did not talk about anything else that they teased. The Below, the Ashians, the Battletoads, the Crackdowns, anything they showed on E3. You know, when Phil was like, we got 50 games, 20,000 like 25 exclusives. And it's like, you should flesh that out at E3. Especially, like I said yesterday, they are getting destroyed in Europe. They needed to make a bigger splash in Europe than in the United States, technically. You know? Technically, in the United States, they are kind of matching up with the MPDs, and you know, they're competitive number-wise. But in Europe, it is just a landslide. It's like over just about 2-1 or more than that. They needed to make a big presence there in Europe. You know, that was like one of the big things they did early on in the generation where they signed FIFA. You know, and Gamescom say we don't expect big announcements. You know, Gamescom is where he announced the Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusivity. They had showed Fable Legends for the first time playable. They announced the big FIFA deal with the FIFA Legends at Gamescom. Gamescom did hold a lot of some announcements. And yeah, I agree. You know, it's turning into kind of sleaze fest. It is. It's turning into a little sleaze fest. Like, you know, we'll see what this Xbox All Access is. I want to know what happens if you say I'm out of my contract. I would like to see. I was listening to Rand's thing. He had a great point in the fact that he was saying that why you know, not just the Microsoft stores have to do this, but they need everybody to kind of do this kind of plan to even make it worthwhile, because there's not a lot of Microsoft stores. I just don't know how Walmart and Best Buy and Target is going to have you sign up and enforce and charge you some sort of subscription, like make sure that you're paying those monthly payments, like unless you open up a special Xbox card. I don't know, but I don't know how they're going to enforce that. Hey, you got to pay us $35 a month. Like whose service you're paying? Like, is it like maybe Microsoft Online? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, how does the store make money? How does Best Buy sell you? They make you walk out of the store with $35 and then they just hope that you pay it every month. Like, it's going to be interesting to see. I really think it's just going to be rolled out to the Microsoft stores first for the holiday. And then, hell, the Microsoft store is the only fucking place that has the Xbox One X demo that you could actually play on an Xbox One X. No retail I've been into, Target, Best Buy, Walmart, GameStop, nobody. Yeah, I understand that, but how do you walk out of the store with the Xbox? You pay Xbox.com. What do? You tell the Best Buy employee, yeah, I'll pay on Xbox.com. Just give me the console. I'll walk out of the store with it. Well, here's $35. Give me the Xbox and 2 years of live, and give me that. Here's $35. I'll take the Xbox Live package and the two of them. Like, how are you going to walk out the store with it? They need to lock you into a contract, because all of a sudden, if you just stop paying, who's collecting? Phil Spencer's coming to your door? Yeah, it's done on mobile, but it's done on mobile through AT&T and T-Mobile. No, those stores. Xbox is going to have set up something that you basically sign up on an Xbox, like an Xbox.com, and sign up with it. But, Joe, we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting on who actually supports that thing. Eric Smith writes something. What do you say? AJ, any thoughts on how Xbox fans are hyping up new quadruple A title coming when all the devs are coming from the same games they shit on Sunday for, or the one and dones? Well, the thing is that there's a lot of speculation going on. What's up, Bow's Moves? There's a lot of yeah, I don't know, Smooth. Like, you'll agree to have a credit card, something. I don't know. We'll see how they do it. It's going to be really interesting. I think they definitely could enforce it with their Microsoft store. We'll see how they do it with the other ones. But, I just think it's kind of like, maybe they'll have to have some sort of sign up process or something like that. We'll see. I doubt Walmart will. Walmart. Oh man, Walmart. That'll be like a 2-hour transaction right there if you try to buy that shit from Walmart. First, you have to find somebody, and then they'll be like, log into Xbox.com. Man, Walmart service is just horrible. They take forever. So I wouldn't. Who knows? Anyway, you probably owe 3 months by the time that transaction is done at Walmart. But so go back to Eric Smith's question. So there's a lot of speculation, a lot of hype. I know that these guys are coming from all these studios, but again, there has to be excellent leadership there. Yeah, the Xbox repo. Phil Spencer comes on your door, goes, "Up, you didn't pay up. Let's go." So they lease them. You know what? Maybe they'll lease them. Hey, maybe they'll do like a layaway. Like a layaway plan or something like that, like Kimo used to do. Val's Move said, if you miss your payment plan, Major Nelson comes to your house and slaps you with his white gloves. Yeah. All right, Smooth, you figured it out. Go ahead, go phone in Major Nelson. You got it. You figured it all out. First, let's see if it's real first. But you know what? We will see. We will see, because when they did do this before. They did this with the Xbox 360. $100. They made you pay like $20 or $15 a month, and you got an Xbox Xbox 360 with Xbox Live. They've done this before. It was only through their Microsoft stores. They didn't pilot it with any retailers. We will see how it goes. But I can tell you, my biggest problem with it is that you better share what you're subscribing to. Like, if they want you, because I don't know who walks into a store and says, I want to have 2 years of Game Pass. You don't even know what the hell's going to be in Game Pass next month. So they really need to share a little bit more of what they have planned, because guess the thing with Game Pass is that we only know the games that they are releasing will come to Game Pass. So when Microsoft announces its first party lineup, now you know what to sign up for. If somebody was looking forward to Crackdown in January, they basically went, oh, okay, I'll subscribe, and I know Crackdown's coming. Oh, I know Sea of Thieves is going to come. I know State of Decay. So Microsoft can't really hold this to Renta Plus. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be very interesting. Electronic devices. We'll see. I said they do. Smooth said they do tablets, phones, TVs. So Rent a Center. We'll see. They do it for phones. I know. And this is basically the console's turning into a phone. But we'll see we'll see what credit agency they got you if you don't pay. Yeah, and Buddy Boy's right. So they did do it, but they only piloted it with their store. So if they try to do this as a Windows Microsoft Store game, a Microsoft Store deal, I think it'll be okay, but they really need to get into retail. Like, you need to go into Best Buy and see $35 X. Yeah, it's going to run into credit. It's like, you don't pay. It's like, oh, I forgot to pay my Xbox fee. It's like, fined. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. And you know what? I think it's an interesting way of them kind of not having to kind of do the price war with their consoles so much. Like, they could basically, yeah, exactly, Addict. Yeah, Walmart and Best Buy are the biggest ones. Even Target, because that's where a lot of shoppers go, and they need to get this out for the holiday. But like, it kind of puts it in perspective in the fact that you don't have to. Smooth says no credit check required. Smooth got the leaks. Smooth got the leaks going on there. He must have the plan right there. But so it's good because then they don't really have to get too much into the price war. And you know, it's interesting. I say, who's going in there saying, well, I want 2 years of Game Pass? I think if you're going to, you need to kind of show next year's lineup and kind of say, like, well, these are the games we got planned for 2019. So I think they got Crackdown, Ori, and Gears. So I think that's not bad. Like, I think that's good. But yeah, somebody's going to come and collect. And also, too, we have to make sure that there's no kind of interest built into it with this thing. Like, you get it for $35 a month, but basically, if you pay that out for 2 years, it doesn't just break even. They try to give you like a convenience fee, Well, if you're going to, pay this, because whoever's doing this service, whoever's you have to pay these monthly payments to is probably going to want to, unless they do like a no interest financing deal, but they might add their kind of fee. Well, you know what, because I know they do that a lot with purchases where it's like, well, we're going to add a $2 service fee if you want to pay this over the next 6 months. Yeah, right. I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's yeah, and it's dealing with a lot of money too. It's not $100 console. Like, you're talking 500 and 400. Like, it's gonna have interest. You're right, yeah, Addict. People got to get paid. Services and the people are gonna get paid. They'll find a way. So you're not gonna. Everybody's like, well, it's a great deal. $35, 2 years, you save money. Nah. Whoever's signing you up and sending you those bills, they're gonna want a little piece of the pie. So they might give you a convenience fee. So you might pay maybe $30 or $40 more than if you just bought it outright. But the thing is like, you really want to pay upfront. Like, their value is like, well, $60 for Xbox Live, which you could get it cheaper, and you're going to pay it upfront 2 years. What happens if you decide you're not going to be playing it anymore? You have 2 years. Same thing with Game Pass. What happens if the shit comes out and it's like, oh, I don't like this month, I don't like this? Like, the a la carte nature of Game Pass is really cool. Because you could jump on, play what you want, and jump off when you don't want to. Like, that's neat. Like, that's a nice thing. I still don't understand why they haven't come out with a year of Game Pass yet, because I think a lot of people want that. Like, just a year of Game Pass. I would say do that first before you say, well, here, you're committed now 2 years, and who knows what breaking that contract is. Like, what if you just put your hands up and say, I'm done? There's a lot of stuff going on with it. Like, I don't think it's for everybody, but it's another way to get. And also, too, we're at the end. You know what else is interesting? I don't think I even asked the other guy's question, but like, the thing is interesting is that but you get Xbox Game Pass during the time. Yeah, so it is worth it. Yeah, if you're gonna get it, yeah, you might as well get it. I'm saying, but who's gonna walk in there and just say, I want 2 years? But the thing is like, the reason why they did it last generation for the 360 was that they did it so that they could kind of squeeze the last 10 to 15% out of the sales. Like, they basically said, we're near the end of the generation. Well, let's kind of let's see if we'll try this model to try to get some more sales out there of the last 10 to 15%. We're coming near the end of this generation, so they're going to try it again. So, maybe squeeze some sales. I think it might work. We'll see. And first off, again, it's a huge rumor. So it's a rumor, but it sounds pretty legit. Like, Jez Corden, he's not as bad as Tom Warren. My God, that guy. Tom Warren, I don't know. Sometimes he just talks out his ass. But Jez, he wrote it. They made him publish it. He put it on Windows Central. That's really legit. So I definitely know about it. I think even Tim Dog was like, he heard rumors that that's what it was and stuff like that. So we'll see. But you know what? I can't knock it, because I think that it'll help them get the mind share if it does penetrate real well. If this is something that people really want to do and not just lay out $500 up front, and it gives them some accessibility, and Microsoft could be like, hey, our install base has grown. Hey, all I got to say is I'm happy that it's about the console. Like, it's really about trying to probably Game Pass. But I'm just like, oh, that's a nice way to try to sell the console. You're not going to give us custom ones, but at least it's a position to say that, hey, we're still care about the console space. And that's where I'm like, okay, can't knock it. We'll see how it goes. We got to see. We'll see what it is. and we'll see what the cost is and if there's interest and who's doing it and all that other stuff. But yeah, I really think that the thing is, the concern that I had was with this Game Pass was I wanted Game Pass to be like a side and another option. But meanwhile, Microsoft still stays the course in their game development. And now it's just Game Pass is creeping in, and not creeping in, but it's there. And Game Pass customer, those engagement numbers is what it is. And, I know what the MPDs came out last night, and Crackdown, a Sea of Thieves and State of Decay are not even in the top 20, 25. So the sustainability of those games, and what's weird is MLB The Show is still there. Detroit Become Human is still up there as just platform only exclusives. Now, Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 are on both platforms, PC and Xbox. They're on both of them at the same time. So, they're still not making what a game just on one platform is. So, and even with all the DLC that's coming out, like they kept every other month. Like I thought when they did that with their services, with games as a service, like quote unquote, if you look at if you look at GTA 5, that's the essential service game. Look at Rainbow Six Siege, another essential service game, and those games are up there. Those games are still, GTA is a friggin' anomaly, but the other game, the Rainbow Six is still there, and that's a service game. So if Sea of Thieves was a service game and it is on PC and Xbox, you'd think it would have some presence there, especially that they continue to be adding content to it. And I know when it was all up there in the top 10 and the top 5, and Games Pass was, and they were like, oh, Game Pass is showing that they sign up. Nah, see, I know Phil was saying like, oh, people buy more and stuff like that. Yeah, because they use Game Pass sort of as a demo. But I do think that these games are kind of the kind of the transition games. Like I think a lot of people pre-ordered them and stuff like that they kept the game and made it been in Game Pass. Like, I just don't think that Game Pass, I think it's too early to be like, well, Game Pass proved their success, because right now, like it's not showing that it's making those games sellable, like selling, because it would be digital, and it's digital too. So it's on both Windows and Xbox and digital and physical. And not physical on PC, of course. But both of them nowhere up there. I would love to know what number they were. And then you look at the other ones, like I said, like Rainbow Six is a service game. That's up there. The Nintendo games went up there because the Nintendo sold because they had an exclusive game. But it really doesn't support the model of game, like of this, like 5 million players, 7 million players, or 5 million on Sea of Thieves, and then it doesn't even chart an MPD. Are those 5 million people that download the game? Are those 5 million people that hit start and then turn it off? Like, you're telling me 5 million people, but when we see the sales, it's nowhere to be found. So is that an accumulation from day one? 5 million people have just signed in? Probably. And that's where it gets me. It's just like, they're not going to come out and say it sucked, it failed, it does like this. But you know what? If it didn't do well, or if it's doing, just let it be. There's people that like it. Let them play it. Give them the content, and that's it. But stop trying to make it like this some success. And I know why they do it. The reason why they do it is because they want to try to get developers on board. And this was my biggest problem is that Microsoft is using these models to try to entice other developers to join on. And it's a hard fight. Because when you are when you are not globally market like penetration, you're not globally there, and you're having struggles to sell the console, and you really don't have a lot of leverage to really go out there and talk to a dev and be like, come put it on our platform. That's kind of why they used the PC, was they wanted to make themselves look bigger than what they are. Like how how I don't know if it's a chicken or what animal. Oh, it is a chicken. Is it a chicken? A 4K chicken? But they're like a puffer fish or one of these animals that like when it's basically a bird. The birds do it, but they boost out their chest. They make them look bigger than what they really are. They're not all like all scrunched over and stuff like that. But when they're threatened, they basically puff up themselves up and make look we're bigger than what we are. And that's what Microsoft was technically doing by adding this whole PC stuff into the Xbox, was basically going, well, yeah, if I just show you what Xbox is, we don't look too impressive. But if I say, here come the PC Windows 10 folks, and now here are our numbers, now all of a sudden they're puffing up. They're like, yo, we're puff. We look bigger. And they try to entice devs, just like they got to go to Japan and beg for games. But you know what? The thing is, like a peacock. Thank you, frogs. Yes, a peacock. It was a bird. It was one of those things. But you puff up. But I know a lot of animals do that as a defense. Like they basically puff themselves up to look bigger than what they are. Because if they really just let themselves go, they'll be like, yo. And yeah, and Eric Smith says, there's a lot of the 30 years because they have a lot of RPG and action games. Microsoft has to like go out. Like Phil has to go to Japan like 3 and 4 times like to try to get these games over there. Now, Smooth said he's buying hose over there. Smooth said he's paying. I don't know what he's doing something over there, but he has to go beg. My thing is worry. You need to lead by example. They're doing it with the services, like they are using their games, but you got to. If these things work, you gotta make desirable content. And if Aaron Greenberg is anything, basically saying that we care about what our fans are number one, I just don't see it. I don't see it because you're buying hose. That's what he's buying over there. Like, I just don't see where our fans are number one, because every single time, just in those articles I showed at the beginning of the show, Aaron Greenberg put his fan hat on because he probably had to know who his audience was going to be. But when Phil comes out there, he says that it's all about consumers everywhere, being everywhere like a virus. And how do you make games? How do you make services? How do you make things that are everywhere? And you become worried about so many. Just look at Twitter. Just look. You'll come out and say a game is trash, and then people will come back and say, I like it. You come back and say, I like this game, and people will go, that game is trash. To try to satisfy, and that is just on Twitter world, to try to satisfy a global market and billions of gamers, you can't make a game like that. You can't. What you need to do is just make a good game, and it will attract people. Like, I would say, if you look at God of War, right? Thanks, Life and Time. If you look at God of War, there were your hardcore people that love God of War, knew all the mythology, right? There are people that kind of like those type of games. Then eventually it started spilling to people like, yo, I'm missing out. I should try this game because it is taking over. Whoa, I'm missing out. And that's when you start getting into the outside people. When they start, when the news comes over, and like my brother who doesn't follow games goes, yo, what's this God of War? What's that about? It penetrated out there because word of mouth on how good the game was got out. Same thing with the Wii. You had your Nintendo hardcore people. Then you had people coming over and showing the movement and going, that looks like fun. Word of mouth spread it. But when you're starting out a game and it is getting mediocre reviews and people like, well, you can't do this. This game doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. And then word of mouth is like a few people like, it's good, but then it just gets dominated with like the bad reviews and stuff like that. It's really hard to spread word of mouth to have it penetrate outside of that. But if you just make a good game, you get people that would hear about it and then they feel like they're missing out on something. Like if they really cared about games, if they wanted to be games, they're missing out on something special. Last of Us is like that. Zelda's like that. The next Mario game's like that. The next Metroid game will be like that. And probably the next Halo game. I don't know about the next Gears of War game. But you're right, Bowser Moves. Good games sell consoles, not console features. And that is the simplistic thing that I always want to get across, was that it was always about the games. And you're right. Eric says what he says. The thing is, you hear all hardcore Xbox game, I got PS4 exclusives, but you never hear the opposite. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would sit here and go, it's not the exclusives. It's not just like it is. They need to create. They don't need to have blockbuster games. Like it. They need to. Actually, I'm sorry to say it. Like, they need to have these blockbuster games, but they are little things that they can be doing right now to keep people and gain new people. You know, the backwards compatibility was like, even that, like the enhancements, I always say the penile enhancements that they talk about, they didn't even have a bunch of listed games. They didn't even go back and be like, people sitting there with a $500 Xbox One X, all they talked about was Master Chief and enhancements. They have not enhanced all those 360 games, like went back and redid them or anything like that. They need diversity. You're right. They need diversity in their blockbuster games, and they need quality games. That was the biggest problem with the CFDs and State of Decay. They were dinged because of, like, there's going to be people that die hard play. They go, Xbox would come out with, they could give out games for free and they would just not do it, And I always say, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But don't deprive yourself because you don't want to cross the line and go see the other side of the story. I'm happy that I did. Because I held back 5 years with the Xbox, saying, no, I don't want a PlayStation. I don't want that. And I opened my mind and got one and started playing the games. And I'm happy that I did. And I kind of want to go kick myself in the ass in 2014 saying, open up your eyes, go try what's going on. But I believe that Microsoft was going to be the one thing that had everything for me. And they were talking a good talk too. And that's where I come off, where everybody's like, well, why are you so angry with them? The problem why I'm so angry with them is because I sat there and believed in them. I believed that they were going to deliver the VR, and it was going to be the best system. It was going to be everything that I wanted in one place, so I can invest and continue to invest in that ecosystem. But what happened is that all that talk started having no weight behind it, and it was just pacifying the inevitable that they weren't investing in any games. And that's where we are right now. The shit has flown to the top. And now we get to see where it is. And now what we get to hear is promises for the future. Well, they already screwed me once with their promises. DirectX 12 was going to improve the games. And now once they start using DirectX 12, we might get better resolution on par equal to what PlayStation is. So you don't look at this like, hey, why am I getting the gimped version of every game? And I'm paying the same price. So if you look at that from that perspective, you should. If you're a PlayStation owner, Xbox should be giving you games that you want to go buy an Xbox for. And if you're an Xbox owner, you should be playing the games that the PlayStation is. Same thing with the Switch. Now, if you're not a multi-console owner, that's fine. You don't have to be. Because if you're satisfied with everything that they're giving you, that's fine. But if you look at what they're giving you, Microsoft right now, even from an Xbox owner's perspective, it's the hope that's holding you on to it. It is not the current content that's out this month or next month or this holiday that's making you stay there. There has not been released compelling software for them. And the games that they come out are preview games that need to be fixed. Like, why do you feel like a second-class citizen being an Xbox owner, getting some PC kind of, let's fix this stuff in preview? There you go. Play it now. Pay for it. I think I saw somebody. I was like, oh, they're allowing you to play these games. You got to pay for them. You're not getting allowed to play these games. These preview games, you got to pay for them. This is not a free service. You're not like sampling these games. You got to pay money to play these games. There's no like, this is not freebies. So when you're doing that, the thing is like, why can't you just lock down a deal? Get an exclusive, and it's just like they did with Titanfall, like they did with Rise. They did this already. That's the craziest thing. It's not like that this is new. I mean, that this is old news. Like they never were this. They were this 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It wasn't until 3 months or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when you started talking PC and they flopped that holiday season with Rise of the Tomb Raider, with Halo 5 and Gears Ultimate. Like after that really didn't boost up their sales, I guess. They kind of just put their hands up in the air and went, you know what? We gave them the best lineup ever, and we still can't beat PlayStation. And maybe they said, you know what? It's not worth it, guys. We got to look elsewhere. And that's maybe when they threw PC involved. And that's maybe when they're like, you know what, guys? I think we should shut it down. And Phil came in and probably was like, no, we could expand and do gamers everywhere. I know that all these because they blew their load that year, man. And it was just, again, they blew their load. But the thing is that they completely messed up on the messaging, and not only that, but messed up on the messaging and messed up on huge opportunities. Teasing that Halo 5 and switching it. And it's right. You're right, Eric. It's that they don't know their fans. I don't think they know. And that's the thing. Like, I remember watching all these Xbox stuff and then watching the PlayStation conferences, and I see people crying. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with these people? Just look at the Super Smash Brothers. Crying. Screaming for a logo. What's wrong with these people? It's because they're poking right at them. Crash Bandicoot on stage, like crying. Like, and then you got Phil on stage and he's apologizing. I'm sorry. I know that we're making an investment. It sounds like a sob story. Like it really is something where I keep saying it. They just need to stop talking. Stop trying to sell this shit on all your interviews about the streaming, 2 billion people, all this stuff. Just go back into your Xbox box. Sit down around the table and make some fucking games that are worth talking about. And stop going on there talking about this future 2 billion people. I care about single player games, but we don't have any single player games coming. We love single player games, but the last one we released was fucking Recore. Like, you got to put your money where your mouth is. Don't just go up there and blow smoke up everybody's ass. And I see, oh my God, Xbox knows how to win. They're going to win. Xbox equals Game Pass. Game Pass is your future. If you believe that the console is going to be what it was at the 360, I'm sorry. Not what I read from these executives. I don't know how you could read those articles and see that stuff and think that the console is the place to be. And that's the story of it. Like, that's what I see. When I see that stuff, I don't gain any confidence that I should go get another Xbox or get an X and put it onto my TV and trust them that amazing stuff is coming from them. And Sony got a lineup of 5 games after Spider-Man that I know are coming. And that's just the high class ones. That's not even talking about Dreams, which looks friggin' awesome. Concrete Ain't Genie, which looks incredible. Like, these games look amazing. It's like, oh my God, this game looks so cool. Fire Pro Wrestling comes out next week. Why doesn't Xbox have Fire Pro Wrestling? Fire Team with the VR system that looks like Rainbow Six with the aim controller comes out next week. It's not just Last of Us. It's not just God of War. It's not just Detroit, Spider-Man. It's not just that. It is a lot of things. It is a lot of games. It goes beyond those games. And when I see what Xbox is given, they're like, yeah, well, we got some game that's not functioning very well on PC, but we're going to put it in preview program. Dreams, no, man. Dreams is, I'm telling you, that shit got delayed, though. That was supposed to come out in the spring. But Dreams, man, there's going to be some crazy ass shit that people are going to make. And I still hate Xbox to this day for shutting down Project Spark. I watched every single one of those Team Dakota things. Now, I'm not a creator. I just loved consuming content, and I love to see what people make with the tools that they have. And they shut down Project Spark. That game had huge potential. But again, they fucked it up with microtransactions. And they wound up shutting the studio down, their own studio. Team Dakota, Phil Spencer was sitting there with those guys when that game released. It's Fruity Loops. Dreams is Fruity Loops. Yeah, it does fucking look weird. But did you see that how they made that like what was it? Not Bloodborne, but they made that they made like a Dark Souls with it. Like it looks cool. But again, if that was all Sony had, I would be like, But that's just an example that it goes beyond just these big games. Like people just think, it's just God of War, Spider-Man, and Last of Us 2. No, it goes deeper than that. And that's where Microsoft needs to have that kind of, they need to have that portfolio. And maybe they're building it now. And that's what it seems like that they're building it. But we just could sit here and wait and just listen to empty promises. And it's not even that I want to sit here and for them to tell me everything that they're doing. They're not going to do that. But of the games you did announce, the unique content, the Crackdown, the Below, the Ashen, those games, those should be the ones that you are showing. Stop with showing multi-plat games. Like, stop emphasizing the multi-plats. I know multi-plats are big, but just stop to hold the best place to play, because remember, guys, you also have the worst place to play, and that's the Xbox One S. So just stop it. And Day Trippers and 7, perfect point. Unimpressive Phil Spencer first party standpoint. He made it very boring. And you know what? It's exactly what I said earlier. Like, it's just so boring. When we talk about them, it's like subscriptions, services, subscription services, you'll pay here. Oh, here comes next month's games. And here we go, like, here, I'll wait it. Here comes, we're going to release one at a time and tease you with them. And it's just so boring. It's just me. And while we sit here and wait for Forza Horizon 4, no, it's not in Japan. It's in England. It looks similar to 3. We got seasons now, the 4 seasons of Frankie Valli. And it's like, it's like, it just seems it's so business. I know it's a business, but it's just so dry and just like 2 billion gamers. I want to make games for 2 billion gamers. We care about our fans. We bought these mid-tier studios to make games for Game Pass because Game Pass is where it is. Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. No mention of the Xbox console. Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. That the interviewer was like, wow, it's pretty telling that the guy uses Game Pass and don't talk about Xbox. And it is. More controllers, more old games, like backwards compatibility. Like, you can't rest your laurels on the past. Use the past to develop your future. And that, and we sit here and we wait. I'm not waiting. I'm playing all the great games I mentioned. But the sad thing is that none of the things I read from these Xbox executives make me have any hope that they are going to bring that Xbox console front and center. It is just a device. It might as well be a PC. It's the services that they want to Trojan horse their way into 2 billion people. And if you're going to Trojan horse your way onto it, you better have content to come with it. People are just not going to subscribe for Game Pass because they like green. People are going to subscribe if you have content. Content is king in the world of subscriptions. And if that's the way you want to go, you better make sure your services and your content are up to par. No game delays, no oops, we're not showing this, we're gonna tease this game. Not when you got people paying every month. You better be very upfront and center of what's going on. You don't have the privilege to keep secrets when you got people subscribed to you for 2 years. There's no secrets here. You got to make sure that you are transparent and let everybody know what content you have so you keep the faith of your subscribers and keep them subscribed. That's why I said Microsoft really needs to show their first-party lineup and what games are coming, because that's the only content that's guaranteed in future Game Pass subscriptions. People are not going to pay a year and a half and then wait by the edge of their seat to see what games, if they're worth a damn, the next month. Oh, I got them all. You know? The only games that they're not getting third-party deals. Everybody thought Rise of the Tomb, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Fallout 76, all those games are going to come to Game Pass. In your dreams. All they were doing was like, oh yeah, you could play Tomb Raider now while you wait for the new one. So it's really something, you need the content. And that's what I said. And it all comes back to what grinds my gears, the biggest thing. It's that just make a game. Let us talk about a great game. Forza may be it this year for now in the short time. I don't think Crackdown's going to be it. And maybe Gears is. I hope Gears doesn't seem like a spinoff with just dealing with Kate. But just make a great game. Stop trying to save the world and 2 billion people. Like, just stop with that nonsense. Because you know damn well you don't have the portfolio, nor the talent, nor the studios to attract 2 billion people, nor the global appeal. You get destroyed in Japan. You're getting killed in Europe. You think, what are you doing? 2 billion people in New York City and San Francisco? Was that your target? Stop it. Stop being the Dalai Lama of video games. You make a fucking console, make games for the console, and make the subscriptions to support great games. If Sony turned on the switch and said, we're having subscriptions, people will go flying, because you know what? They got the great games to support that. And I always use the examples of Netflix and Hulu and HBO and Stars and Showtime. You wouldn't subscribe to them if there was just the same movies you could watch everywhere else. That's what they used to be. Yeah, Netflix, you could watch everything you just saw already on DVD. Netflix wasn't worthwhile. But all of a sudden, Netflix starts putting their own content on there, and now people like, oh man, Stranger Things. Oh my God, the Stranger Things. HBO was a recycled box office. They added Sopranos. They added Game of Thrones. And now it's like, I got to subscribe to HBO. It makes sense. Everybody wants to say Game Pass is Netflix. Well, the one big thing that Netflix has is their own unique content coming out every single month. Xbox got mediocrity coming out. Nobody's signing up for Sea of Thieves right now. Nobody's signing up for State of Decay right now. Not even the content that you have in this quote-unquote games as a service is even worth people to even make this game have a little bump in sales. It's not. Mediocrity is not going to make people subscribe to you. So you need to develop the content. And hopefully you got the right heads in there and you make the right moves for the content. But that content's not coming anytime soon. So we sit here and wait. And we get to read more promises from them. But I just want to end it here. I want to thank everybody. The 18, 20 watching. Like, share the video. I know I worked overtime this week. I knew it was going to be pretty interesting. But, you know, it's another conference. And then the execs get on their mic. And they say the same old stuff. And it's the side of the story that a lot of diehard Xbox people want to hear. But this is what they're saying. And if you could read those articles and go rah, bleed green, I love my Xbox, I'm going to buy another one and 7 of them and put them on everything, you're reading something different than I see. because what I'm seeing right now, it just seems that they have transcended beyond Xbox, and that's fine. You know what? Transcend beyond Xbox. But don't be upset when you see the games designed for 2 billion people. Don't be upset when you see Halo accessible for people who never played Halo before. It is. The Xbox. No, Xbox Game Pass is the main chick. The Xbox console is a side chick. Not even. It's like the chick you don't even. You see monthly side chick. But just be careful, because I saw Greenberg's tweet also about Halo Infinite. And he's like, this is going to be great for people who follow Halo and for newcomers alike. What the hell does that mean? What are you doing to Halo? Are you flipping the script? What are you doing? And he said that it's accessible. So they are going to make their games adjusted for reaching out to more players, which we will call basically dumbed down. They're going to dumb down the games. They're going to casualize these games to make it appeal to more people. And that typical maybe Halo's hardcore amazing story and progression and challenging and this and you know competitiveness might be toned down, because you got to make sure little Timmy could play, because he's part of the 2 billion. And we'll see. You know, accessibility is nice, but you better have your accessibility and you have this. You better have your casual games and you better have your hardcore games. So we'll see. I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is Jez77. You know, thanks 22 people watching. I want to thank you very much. This is Jez7780. Follow me on Twitter. Share the video. Like, you know, I appreciate this. This is not acts. This is how I feel. This is genuine. This is what I gather from reading this. I don't go at anybody. I don't go at any people, because there's fans of everything. And I always say this. You have fans of every genre. You cannot go at the people. I go at the people sending the message, the corporations, because they screwed me. They flipped the leaf. And I don't like the direction that they're going in, because it's creeping into the games that they're making. And I knew it. I knew they were going to do this. And I want to thank everybody coming out. We'll see where it goes. The waiting game, who knows? Maybe they just come out and say it was all a joke. It was all ruse. And we're back. Xbox is the best box. Xbox is the best. You know, we're back. And screw PC. You know, 2 billion people not interested. Maybe one day he'll come out and just be like, yeah, that was all ruse. But I just want to thank you again. This is what grinds my gears. And I want to thank all my grinders out there for jumping on and chatting it up. I appreciate all the interaction and the support. And thank you again. And I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.